It's time to go to work.
Yeah, he's there.
Welcome to the world's most dangerous podcast, Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray.
You know you drive me crazy, baby.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again on another glorious Tuesday night, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be, Eastern Time, Central Time, or Pacific Time. Pacific Time meaning out on the West Coast, whether earthquakes and stuff like that gobble you up. But I'm not out there, man. I'm in Texas, where the hurricanes and stuff like that gobble me up. And it's hurricane season right now. But be that as it may, nothing stops this show. And you guys know this is part two. This is part two of me and Mr. David Otunga talking about and giving our 2 cents about the trial of the century with O.J. Simpson. Now, with all that being said, every week, ladies and gentlemen, we have to find out where Mr. Producer is and try to track him down before we get this show started. And I got to see right now, Mr. Producer, are you out there anywhere? Are you still traveling? What's going on? Are you out there? There he is.
Steve, you said no. I'm like a bad rat. I ain't going anywhere, man.
Okay, man. I was just checking, man. Did you get through the weekend okay?
Man, I got through the weekend, and the strangest thing happened yesterday. I was in Tampa, and now I find myself around the Miami area. Shout out to Giannis, by the way.
Giannis, I thought, is Giannis going to go to Miami?
He is. I can confirm that he is going to Miami, yes.
Okay, well, good for Giannis, man. I'm telling you right now.
This is my two. Man?
Huh?
Why do you think I'm in Miami?
Okay, that's right. Well, can I give 2 cents on that before me and David start the show? Can I give my 2 cents?
Oh, yes. I would expect.
Okay, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on Giannis. On Giannis, the Greek freak. He should never have went to Miami.
What?
He should never have. I'm telling you, his game is going to. I'm predicting this right now. His game is going to fall off.
Do you think it's because of Cuban food, man?
Huh?
Do you think it's because of Cuban food?
No. It's because of Cubans, period.
Ah, man. Why do you do Cubans that way, bro?
No, this ain't a bad thing. What I'm telling you right now, the scenery is totally different. He should have stayed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where there's nothing to see. Okay?
Oh, man.
He should have stayed there and went down to Chicago every blue moon to hang out. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Well, you know what? It makes sense because I've been in Miami for a minute now, and I can confirm that there is a lot of Cuban females here, and the sights are unbelievable, Steve. I can confirm that.
Okay, and I can too. Matthew said he at the gym, so he won't be able to make it. But it's all good. But anyway, man, let's get down to the real nitty gritty and get back to the trial of the century, Mr. Producer.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to bring our special guest. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, Steve.
Okay.
Before we bring David on,
okay.
Mr. David Otunga, we are going to confirm last week, if the people were watching, we left off on Ron Dolman and his night with Nathan and where we were standing on there and the struggles that ensued. We are going to resume that, and we are going to bring David in. No intro tonight. because we want to get down to it, Steve. So without
Okay.
further ado, David.
How you doing? Good to see you guys again.
What's going on, David?
Man, ready to get back into it. I'm
David,
out here in LA where the earthquakes follow me up.
Yeah.
They get nervous. I haven't lived through one of these yet.
I can't wait till you do. I want you to call me when your house fall in a hole.
And as far as Giannis going to Miami with the Cubans, I thought you were talking about the Cuban women. Because man,
well, see, I didn't want to say nothing, David. See, I ain't trying to put nobody's business in the street. I ain't trying to put nobody's business in the street. I'm just talking about how the game's gonna fall off. I'm not gonna say how.
Okay. It's Cubans, but it ain't the sandwiches. There's a
and it ain't the cigars.
Oh man, they get.
And it ain't the cigars either. Okay?
No, it ain't the cigars.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer came through Miami, said he down there to welcome the Greek Freak, and I'm telling Mr. Producer, if his game falls off, don't just let me know. Didn't no Ray Dog tell you first, okay? Didn't no Ray Dog tell you first.
Man, Steve, I've been here a minute, and my game's already fallen off. I can confirm that for sure.
You know what? Just thinking about it now, you got the sandwiches, cigars, the women. I can go down there and let my game fall off a little bit.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you something, David, before we start the show. And David, we got a lot of good comments last week from the show of what we did. And I appreciate you coming on and giving a lot of edification as to how you and I look at this whole situation, man. I appreciate that. And you're back again to finish it off. But I got to say this. Whenever old Ray Dog, okay? Whenever old Ray Dog went to Miami, do you know? None of my contemporaries didn't see me till time to go. Wait, what? I'm not gonna tell you where I was. See what I'm saying?
I can only imagine.
Cause see, I'm a road warrior, man, and I'm the kind of person I don't need no wingmans. You dig? Oh, Ray Dog, you know, I walk it like I talk it, man. And in certain cities I go to, nobody knew who I was. You see me on night I got the raffle. After that, that's it. Miami was one of those towns. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Had to get down to business when you get there. Man.
Brother.
Yeah.
I knew my way around Miami driving. Well, back as much as we used to work, I could drive around any city. And see, I used to when I went to Miami, I used to hang out in Coconut Grove. Okay?
Okay.
I used to hang out in Coconut Grove. And brother, with nobody. See, I ain't like hanging out with other wrestlers in certain cities.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they holding me down, brother. They slowing me down. You dig? That's all I'm going to say about it. So, when I talk about Giannis, I'm talking about things from experience, bro. People just don't know. But I'm going to leave it at that, man. But Mr. Producer just got through saying where we ended up. Mr. Producer, come up again and clarify that again.
Yes. So last week, let me pull up the graphic. We left off on Ron Dolman and his struggle that night with apparently the night of the murder. We were talking about it, and these are some of the facts that we went over for the people watching.
Oh, look at this. This is nice.
So, let me pull it up on my end. But yes, as you can see, that one of the factors was he fought for his life. And Ron Dolman, we confirmed that he was a waiter. And that night he was going to drop off a pair of glasses. After the glasses were returned, he never came back, and he never met who he was supposed to. He was murdered. We did confirm that. You know, it was we did talk about the suspicious activities that were occurred as well. So I don't know if you guys want to leave off And
No, we can start. We can start up right there.
Okay, perfect.
All right, brother. Appreciate it, man. Everybody seen the graph? This is the way we do it on this show. Mr. Producer and we find all the little tidbits, man, and we want to show the people that we don't play. Before you came on, I was talking to the Instagram fans that we don't play. Somebody hit me up. I don't know if you heard me talking, but somebody hit me up and said, "Oh, he can't be, because of disrespect or something like that. He can't be a follower of the show anymore." And I won't say his name, but he's I know who he is, but we don't know if we offended him or what. But at the end of the day, if we offended him, it couldn't be because of the facts. It had to be because of your emotions. And if men are emotional like women, then I don't need you watching this show anyway. This ain't the show for you. Because if you got women emotions, it is what it is. I'm going to always step on female emotions from a man. Always. I do it on purpose. So if you can't take the truth, what can I tell you? Then go live in your world. Don't come in mine, whoever you may be. But at the end of the day, David, we can start up right there if you want to. You can start you can start, and I'll follow you.
Okay. So we left off with Ron Goldman and fighting for his life. And I mean, there's a lot around this whole part. I think some of the things that were interesting is, I'll talk about some of the pieces of evidence that nobody really discussed. One little known piece of evidence is there was a blood drop on the bottom of Ron's shoe. And apparently, I don't think it was ever collected, but that's significant because think about it. How does one get a drop of blood on the bottom of their shoe? Somebody would have had to have dripped blood over them, over the top of them, which means the killer or killers went back and forth between both victims. But as far as I know, I don't think it was collected or tested. If it is, it wasn't significant, or it clearly did not point towards Mr. Simpson, because otherwise we would have heard all about this. Right. So I don't know why, if it just wasn't recorded at all, or if it was some unidentified blood. Really don't know. But I think that that's interesting that there's a couple different pieces of evidence that kind of point towards potentially other people being there. And
I think it might be more than that, but let's hear what you got.
No, go with it. I was going to say, just to touch onto it, we touched last time briefly about how if you look at the evidence in the wounds, there appears to be two different knives used. Right. I've even heard Robert Shapiro talk about that, in that he said that there wasn't enough made about that, but
you know why?
Different weapons.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
And this is what we're talking about. Well, this is what David and I are talking about. Everybody, please listen to us and please try to follow what we're saying. David, I always try to put my mind in the mind of if I'm sitting on a juror. Remember I said that? Because as a kid, one of my favorite movies was 12 Angry Men. And once I became a man to understand exactly what that movie was about, now I got it. So whenever I'm talking about anything that pertains to the O.J. Simpson trial, I am looking at it as if I was on a jury, not what people talk about at nighttime when they can control the narrative, okay? And then phase out what really went on. So now let's get back to exactly what you were talking about when it comes to what Robert Shapiro was talking about. A Mr. Golden was the person that did the autopsy for the LA Police Department. In the pre-trial, he said on the record that it looked like two different knife wounds, a double-edged knife and a blunt-edged knife, one which is sharp on both ends, one which is sharp on one end and blunt on the other, which is more flat. That is what he testified to in the pre-trial. Well, a lot of the people didn't see the pre-trial, okay? It was so many different people. So when the real trial, when the main trial came up, Mr. Golden, that did the autopsy, his boss, Mr. Ramaswamy, he's an Indian guy. His boss testified. And who was the guy grilling him? Robert Shapiro. And Robert Shapiro was asking him, why isn't Mr. Golden here? You see what I'm saying?
That's a great question.
Why isn't Mr. Golden here? Well, has Mr. Golden ever missed? Because those guys got to testify all the time in court when they do autopsies. Has Mr. Golden ever missed a appointed autopsy to appearance to testify before? No, I don't think he has. Have you ever had to take his place before? Oh no, this is my first time. Now you see, you don't think the jurors are looking at this? And he comes in and says, no, it was only one knife. Well, how can they dispute that if the other guy doesn't come to testify, who they got on camera saying it was two knives?
Right.
Does that make sense? Now, you don't think the jurors are looking at this like, if he's not sick, if he didn't thump his toe, there he is. Look at him. Look at him. Ramaswamy. Can't even remember. I can't even think of his last name. I know he's an Indian guy. Yeah. Yeah. Look at him. But he comes in and testifies totally different. Have you ever heard anything like that? You're an attorney.
Well, actually, being an attorney, yeah, this makes complete sense to me. That's why Robert Shapiro was going like he does, because now this is something that people think attorneys do, and I'll be honest, they do kind of do this. You pick and choose which witness supports your narrative best. For example, whenever one side brings in an expert, well, the other side's going to bring in an expert to refute that and say the exact opposite. That's just how it is. And then the thing of it is, you just keep hiring an expert until you get one who will say what you want or give the narrative, give something that will comport with your narrative. That's the thing.
Well, especially when it's the prosecution, though, and y'all all working on the same side. But you couldn't give a real reason why the man that did the autopsy is not here today.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him. And the only reason you're here is because you don't want the man to perjure himself, because he's going to have to say the same thing that they got him on camera saying in the pretrial. Right. And you don't think the jury is looking at this? You ain't got your hands dirty. You didn't have to put your hands on the bloody bodies. You didn't have to get the a monocle, if you will, to look at these wounds. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
The guy that works for you, amongst others, had to do that. And you come in and testify for him, and he's a grown man that has never missed a date of testifying in his life until this trial.
The trial of the century at that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you don't think a jury, when we go back to deliberate, we're not going to look at each other and go, what was that? And why was that? We want an explanation, because you got to keep your narrative going. Because if the real guy that did the real autopsy come in, they're going to show him, this is what you said when you try to lie. This is what you said under oath. This is what you said. So if you try to go, I really don't remember if I said that. Wait a minute. Let me refresh you, Mr. Golden.
Yep.
Is this you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't want to lose my job. I mean, come on, brother. But I'm just putting that out there that kind of coincides with what you're saying about Robert Shapiro.
And this leads to the bigger issue, which is what we're talking about, is think about that. Just this one aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Now, this Mr. Golden or Dr. Golden, he testified that there were, he wrote in his report, there looked like evidence of two knives.
On video.
On video.
Yes.
The prosecution obviously is aware of this.
Of course.
They chose not to call him.
Right.
So what are we doing here? Are we trying to get to the truth, or are we trying to win a court case?
I think once they go ahead,
we're trying to win a court case, because if the prosecution had that, now wait a minute, maybe they should investigate this more, because that's their own witness saying this, instead of let's quiet him up, let's figure a way around this. And so that's always been my problem with the case, is if there's more evidence or something might point another way, instead of just ignoring it because you want to win this court case, the truth is something different. And there's a lot of leads that could lead to the actual truth, because just however a court case comes out and is decided, that does not mean that's the truth. I think that's what people have a hard time understanding. Two different things.
Right. And that's why I say this was, once they created it, we can't back off. And anything that's going against the evidence that we're trying to put out here, we got to stomp it off, because there were so many different people. There were so many different people that came in and testified as to what they heard, so on and so forth that night. And they ridiculed these people, and all of these people thought O.J. Simpson was guilty. But because of what they were testifying to, didn't add up with their timeline of what they had presented to the jury, they ostracized them. And these people didn't even know why. Now let's go back to Ron Goldman before we continue on that note. Ron Goldman, as Mr. Producer just chronicled here, and this is what a lot of people don't know. We know he was in a fierce fight, okay? We know that the man got off at a couple of minutes to 10 o'clock. We know the man stays within 8 to 10 minutes of his home, of which he walked home. We already established, I asked you last week, if you were a 25-year-old man, you getting ready to go do some serious macking tonight. Anybody that doesn't know what that means when a young man is going while all the pretty ladies are, okay?
Oh, my God.
And you've been on a 5-6 hour shift at an Italian restaurant on a hot night in the summertime, and you walk home. How long is it going to take you to get dressed to get ready to go to the hottest nightclub in LA tonight, you and your buddy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a part-time actor, and I'm a part-time model. And I care about how I look, man. I'm a vain gun, bro. And you telling me, and then on top of that, I have eaten a spinach salad that was found in my intestines, which everybody at the restaurant testified he did not eat here. He did not eat here. So that means he ate at home. So how long did it take that man from 10:10? And they said, the prosecutor said the murders happened at 10:15. So Ron Goldman did just threw some stuff on? No. He had to eat. He was dog sitting. He had to take the dog out for the dog to do his business, because he was also the person who had borrowed their car. This guy ain't even got a car. Man, do you know I had a car when I was 17 years old? I bought my own car at 17 years old. And this man is a model in LA, and he walking. Oh, Ray Dog ain't walked since I was 17. I don't even know what it is.
What?
Unless the car was broke down, I had to catch the bus or something like that. Other than that, baby, I had a ride. So I don't even know what it's like to be borrowing no car from nobody. Who will let me borrow their car anyway? But be that as it may, he borrowed his friend's car. He was dog. That's why he was dog sitting. None of this is ever. Nobody's ever heard this. But if you do the back search, it's all there. Then he had to get ready. Then he had to eat. Then he had to shower. He had to get that marinara sauce out of his hair. I'm going to be pushing up on honeys tonight. You got to get that out of your hair. Okay? So then, because did you know this? His house, remember he was taking the glasses home. of her mother, do you know her house is closer to the restaurant than his house?
Wow.
So it would have been faster for him to drop the glasses off and then go home. Why didn't he? I don't know. But we covered that a little bit. Then we all know what happened. But did it happen at 10:15, 10:20? Did it happen? Because one guy, his name was Danny something. He coming from Mother Lucy's restaurant, him and his date. They walked from the restaurant to their house, and Nicole's house is on the route. They testified to this in court. He said he heard nothing. He said he heard nothing. And he said, they asked him, what time did he come through? He said around 10:30. He heard nothing. And the only reason they're saying, okay, I'll take that. I'll go to the next lady that testified, but they ridiculed her. Her friend was leaving her house and working on her, Denise, can't think of her last name, but she stays right across the street. She stays right across the street from OJ's ex-wife. Her friend is leaving at about 10:25, 10:26, 10:27. And they looked at each other and said, man, how quiet it is tonight. It's so eerie, it's quiet, so quiet. Denise Milner or something like that, I think. Then she goes back in to call her mother, and she writes a letter on the computer. And you know how the computer keeps a timeline when you do something. It was 10:28. It was 10:28. And the reason I'm bringing this up, the kid that was walking home from his date heard nothing at 10:30. She heard nothing at 10:28 to 10:32 when she was making a letter and her friend was leaving her house. The only reason they said the timeline is pushed back like we're talking about, because of Mr. Heistra, who was a French Canadian, say he heard a dog welling about 10:15 to 10:20. He heard a dog. That's why the prosecutor's timeline is pushed back that way. And anybody that didn't come up and say the same thing, they ridiculed him and make them out like they don't talk. And these are people that think OJ is guilty. Now, Mr. Hofstra is a French Canadian. And as Christopher Darden is giving him the interview, he asked him, what did he hear? And Mr. Hofstra said, he heard, hey. And then Christopher Darden asks, did it sound like a black man? When has a French Canadian heard a black man in Montreal say, hey? And how did you know a black man from what was that, Mr. Producer?
Steve, I can actually prove when he heard that. I have actually a few clips we can show when he heard that incident.
That he can show how a black man sounds?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Come in. Hi.
That's one. We have another, Steve.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying.
What if? Okay, then. If a black man say, hey, then yeah. Had this guy seen some episodes of Bad Albert and what's happening? How would he know what a black man sounds like? And how do we know it was a black man and not a white man?
Right. And how do we know that he's accurate on the time? Like,
because that's what he told him.
Arguing the other day or yelling or being loud or something. But if you were to ask me right now what time it was, man, I don't know. Maybe it was around 9 o'clock.
Well, he said That's the time that they're going by. So that's how they got their timeline. He said he heard a dog. He said he heard, hey, hey, hey. Then he said he heard a dog wailing. A couple of people said that. But that Denise lady that stayed across the street say she didn't hear a dog till like 10:40, 10:45.
Yeah, because that's what I would say is that he may have heard a dog wailing, but how accurate could he be on his recollection?
But how accurate was he on the hey, 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 though?
That too. And how accurate was he on that even? It's a lot to ask for somebody who was a passive witness from inside and just hearing this in their own home and would have no other reason to write this down.
But everybody else that's closer than him, the Danny guy that was walking home with his girlfriend who testified the same thing, say they heard nothing, no dogs, no fighting, no nothing. And they walked right by where the murders were, where the murders happened. They walked right by that area. Denise Wilton, she said the same thing. And she got it on her computer.
Yeah.
But she did testify to hearing the dog. But it was 5 to 10 minutes later. Okay, if all of that is true, the timeline doesn't add up.
Yeah.
The timeline doesn't add up because they said it would take to commit those murders, it took between 12 to 15 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they also had experts to testify that whoever did those murders would have blood in their eyelids. Henry Lee, who looked at the crime scene, who is the #1 pathologist in the United States of America, testified that it was probably 2 sets of footprints in the blood. 2 sets. And the Bruno Mali, they got a Bruno Mali shoe print. But did you know this? And this came from what is the guy named who also went through all the paperwork. He did a documentary on the whole thing. T.H. Johnson. They tracked down the whole thing when it comes to Bruno Mali shoes, and they found out that the Bruno Mali shoe, actually, the sole is given to more than one shoe.
Now that's interesting. I did not know that.
If you see what I'm saying, the sole.
Yeah. So there could be another make of shoe
exactly
that has that same sole.
But they came up with the Bruno Mali. Yes. And the guy got sneakers on when he went to McDonald's and came home about 9:30. Then I'm going to go home and put on some Bruno Malis to go murder somebody. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about this as a juror. I'm thinking about this. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
He was also wearing sweatpants at the time. I've never heard of a man wear sweatpants and Bruno Malis at the same time.
And then get rid of them in time to go catch a flight and leave a couple of drops of blood.
And then also, we discussed this last time too, but what did he do with the shoes and his clothes? Allegedly, if OJ did this and wore this, because Alan Park allegedly saw him around 11 p.m. go up to the front of the house. He never said anything about
10:50, around 10:52, 53, 54, right in there.
He never said anything about OJ being barefoot or, not having clothes on. That would have.
Well, they left at 11, so he wouldn't have had time.
Yeah. And OJ would have had to go in, take a shower, clean up, get his bags, get dressed. They always said
he would have had to wash his hand. You would have left everything in the sinks. There's no way you could have hid blood. It's 2 drops of blood supposedly in the driveway. But this is after the fact, after they were starting to bring the case against Mark Fuhrman. Yeah. But if you got shoes on, like you said, wouldn't you leave tracks? You walked up the back gate, you jump your fence, walks up the back gate, runs into the air conditioner. and it's all kind of foliage on the ground, and you got sticky blood on your shoes. Wouldn't you walk that stuff right in your house?
Right.
Think about that.
But also, where are the shoes? How come they never turned up? You know, they searched his house, searched everything. They never, if they would have found those shoes, boom, they got it. They never recovered those, apparently. So did he even own the shoes? There's a picture of him. They always show wearing shoes that I guess are similar to that, but I don't know if they've ever conclusively proven that those are Bruno Mars.
I tell you what they did prove.
What's that?
That picture was doctored.
I didn't know that.
I can actually confirm for you both. I've done the research. There is no pictures, video evidence of any shoes whatsoever taken from this case. So you guys are actually on point to let the viewers know at home.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Mr. Producer. You're 100% right, and I appreciate that. I'm looking at stuff from a juror's perspective. It's no way. How many people testified? We talked about this last week too, David. That people that went in that truck said there was no blood in there.
Right.
2 people that looked in that truck and said there was no blood in there. And then days later, it was blood in there.
Not to
and then it's smudged blood. If a person that got that kind of blood on him, come on, man, you ain't going. And okay, let's look at stuff from a perspective of, like I said, you can't be Jerome Horowitz, one of my favorite people on earth. You're not going to be Jerome Horowitz and Jack the Ripper at the same time. That's impossible. Because now it's calculated.
Yeah.
That's calculated. Hey, man, Avi just hit me up and said I haven't even been looking at the comments, but Avi, if you're out there, I appreciate it, man. Brother, if you had got back with me, Avi, I actually wanted to bring Avi on the show also this week, but he never got back with me. I called him last week, but Avi's so busy doing his show, man. I understand. But anyway, if I'm sitting here, go ahead.
I was gonna say another problem with that and with the Bronco is, so they did things in a very strange way that I've never heard of in a case before, where they didn't collect blood. No, let me rephrase that. They didn't find blood evidence until weeks after the case.
Exactly.
So after they'd already had time to collect OJ's blood.
Exactly.
And the big problem with the blood that they allegedly found inside this Bronco, it wasn't just that the 2 men were in there before and didn't see anything, but that's part of the problem. There were 2 people in the Bronco searching it, meaning it was open. It wasn't that hard to get access to it.
Exactly.
So anybody could have automatically, that crime scene is now tampered with. It's tainted because you had 2 individuals in the car going through things. And one of them even said he left fingerprints. So how do we know somebody didn't go in there and leave some blood that wasn't there before? Because it's not like they had it on video surveillance. Like the chain of custody is not clean there. And that's a major problem.
One of the guys was the guy we talked about last week. The other guy works he tows the truck for the city and the police department. And he says he knows it hadn't been done for fingerprints, because when they do stuff for fingerprints, it either leaves some black residue or some gray residue. And he didn't see any of that. Marcia Clark came up and showed some residue on the door handle. But that's not in the truck. That's outside of the truck. And we don't know when they dusted it for that. It could have been any time.
You know what? Let me make a point right off that. And Mr. Producer, I don't know if you can pull this up. I think we discussed this before, but the date that those men looked in the truck, I believe it was like June 21st or something like that.
It wasn't too long after the murders.
Yeah, but it was like 11 days or so. But my point being was, they didn't collect this evidence till then or find this evidence. OJ was already a suspect and I believe in custody at that time.
Exactly.
So what if they didn't have the evidence from this Bronco, what were we just basing this on? Because they act like there was so much evidence, but
well, I'm going to tell you,
evidence was available.
The only thing that started this was the glove found at his house. Other than that, David, you got nothing.
Yeah.
You got a few blood drops and a glove found at his house, of which Furman lied and said they found it at 6:37 in the morning. But Rosa Lopez, the maid that stays right across the street from OJ, walks her dog every night at the same time.
To confirm David's question, I have it pulled up here.
Okay.
The blood was collected on June 13th, 1994, just a few days after. So, yes.
No. You might be talking about another set of blood. You talking about the blood in the Bronco?
Yes.
Because the only blood that they saw to even initiate this, Mark Furman is the one that saw it, and the only way you could see it, you had to open the door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're talking about wipe down for blood, like for fingerprints and stuff of that nature. That wasn't done till a while later, just like David said.
No, it
was smart. But see, they had to get time to get the blood, because not only did Van Adder, whether Van Adder or the other detective, not only did he have OJ's blood from when OJ gave blood the next day, he had Denise's blood and Ron Goldman blood too.
Oh, yes.
He had all three of them blood in blood vials.
Okay.
And he didn't turn that blood in till like the 15th.
Yes, that's what it's saying right here.
Yes.
Yes.
So what does that look like? One man walking around with three people blood, and all of a sudden, all of this blood got EDTA in it at a very high level.
Right. And I found the stats on that. They drew 8 milliliters of OJ's blood, Mr. Simpson's blood. When the blood was tested in the lab, there was only 6.5 milliliters.
What happened to the blood?
To that 1.5 milliliters of blood? How did
do you know the guy that drew the blood under oath was emphatic, because he does this on a daily basis. You know what I'm talking about, man.
Yep.
Like nurses and stuff like that, when they draw blood, brother, that's like walking to them. You know what I'm saying? They do it with their eyes closed. Put the blood in the deal. I just did a physical a few months back, so you know how they get the two gimmicks, then put the little thing on the deal, and so I know how that goes.
And to confirm, David, a regular CBC connection is about 2 to 5 milliliters. So yes, they overdrew. I can confirm in the case.
Okay. Now, they asked the man under oath in the pretrial, how much blood he could have been 7.9, 8.1, but right there. He said, I know, he's emphatic about this. Then when the EDT thing came up, and when they found that the detective was walking around with the blood, they went back to this guy, did an interview with him, but it's not under oath. It's not under oath now. See how they did with Rumshami, with Mr. Golden? Now they're doing it with the guy that pulled the blood. Now, not under oath, they're like, well, I could have been wrong. Maybe it was 6.5. Really, bro? You don't think the people that's on the jury are looking at this? How do you mess something like that up? Something so important. This is O.J. Simpson. You just got his blood. This ain't O.J. Lewis. It's O.J. Simpson, man. You know who he is. You know you're not gonna mess that up. Now all of a sudden, when I think back on it, like, I don't know, 5-6 months later, I could have been wrong. But you notice they didn't do it under oath. Same way they did with Mr. Dr. Golden. Come on, brother. These people ain't dumb. And when they go back to deliberate, you don't think they're looking at each other like, what was that? How could they mess that up?
Right.
that doesn't give you doubt of somebody's trying to pull a fast one. This is a trial of the century, and you guys are acting like the, Keystone Cops. Really? It don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that. And let's go back to Goldman. I don't know if I told you this, but it was 3 guys connected to that restaurant and Ron Goldman that died suspiciously also.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. One of them was Brett Cantor. He owned a club called the Dragonfly, and he was cool with Ron. And another guy was named Michael Negg. And if I'm not mistaken, there were reports that he dated Ron Goldman's sister, who also ended up getting killed suspiciously. Now, Brett Cantor, or the Michael Negg guy, he had a nice crib, nice Mercedes-Benz, yet he worked at Mezzaluzas. When did waiters start making that kind of money?
Right.
Is that kind of crazy?
And I'm sure one of them, if not both of them, but at least one of them, if I recall correctly, not only were they killed, but they had their throats slit.
One did.
Yeah.
One of them did. Now, Negg, one goes to the ATM machine. Negg, he goes to the ATM machine with his girlfriend at the time to get $40. $40. His 2 guys roll up on him while he at the ATM. They thought it was a robbery. They didn't even take the $40. Yet they shot the guy several times. Now that don't sound suspicious. And do you know that Robert Shapiro wanted to bring this stuff within the defense, but what's the name? Judge Ito wouldn't let him. Isn't that kind of suspicious?
Really?
Because they were trying to say that maybe Nicole wasn't the target.
Yeah.
Maybe Ron Goldman was the target, because several restaurants in that area, people was dealing cocaine and pills and stuff like that out of there. How does Michael Negg drive around in a car that David Otunga drives around in, and you working at the restaurant, and I'm leaving pieces of my body all over the United States of America? How that work?
He got some other
how that work
from there. Yeah, making that side money somehow.
What kind of tips you getting, David?
Yeah. He gets some real tips over there.
Now, I'm not saying nothing, but I'm just saying this is what. And do you know Ron Goldman's police record, you cannot get. It's filed under, I forgot what the numbers are, but it's filed under a category as if you worked with the police.
Now that's interesting. That's something I didn't know. And actually,
I told you, man, I keep telling you, I'm like the guy that worked for Perry Mason, man. I keep telling you, yeah. I do the real digging, man. Yeah. I do the real digging. Yes. Did you know that?
Because
it's filed under whatever the category is, because everything is public record.
Right. Yes,
you can't get it. You can't get his file.
Now that's an interesting wrinkle, because if he was a confidential informant, that would explain why they wouldn't want to release certain information. And They could say because it could potentially, it could cause problems and complicate other ongoing cases or who knows. That's interesting. And that would also be why Judge Ito, and this is all speculation, but potentially would have ruled not to let the other evidence in about his friend being killed. They could have argued it was more prejudicial than probative. You know, maybe I don't know, because whatever the link is, the judge could have argued that it wasn't strong enough, wasn't direct. There's different ways around it, but that actually seems kind of plausible to me here.
But it wasn't the judge that wouldn't let the evidence in. This is independent people that started investigating this trial when it was over. But let me ask you this. Did you know Judge Ito's wife worked in the police department?
I did hear something like this, and there was some kind of potential conflict. And he, you know, there was debate on whether or not he should recuse himself, and did not. Yeah, I was a little familiar with that.
And do you know that his wife worked in the same precinct with the very guy that the prosecution betted everything on?
Furman?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. I did not know that.
Everybody in that precinct knew what this guy was, because one of the Jewish guys that worked in that same office went on vacation and came back, and he had a swastika on his I guess where they go to change clothes and stuff like that, on his locker. Everybody knew, if they was betting, who put that swastika on his locker door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These are things that people don't know anything about. Ron Goldman is, like I said, an unofficial snitch. Couple of other people, 2 or 3 people that he's connected with, get killed mysteriously. And one of them, I'm not 100% sure on this, dated his sister. One gets his head cut off exactly like he did. All this happened within 13, 15 months of his murder. Yet nobody looks into this. With all these TV shows that's talking about this stuff in the aftermath, nobody talks about this.
Yeah. That goes to
go ahead.
That goes to the nature of this, and just how the media, the narrative played in this, and then trying to have everything fit the narrative that they initially put out, whether what they found was right or wrong, and not for the truth, because wouldn't you think that would be something that would be worthy of being investigated? But nobody looked into it, because it would just it would take energy away, and it would create reasonable doubt.
Exactly.
The more realistic it seemed.
But you got to realize, the jurors are already sequestered. So they're not trying to influence the jurors. They're trying to influence the public. O.J. Simpson had to be guilty, whether he won the trial or not. And it worked. Yes. That's been my whole thing this whole time. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Yes, David, we have a comment, not from this week, but actually last week, that fits the subject that you guys are talking about. David, have you seen any cases in your career as a lawyer that pertains to having a subject like this, or meeting a subject like this? Because right now, I can't recall, and I think Steve can agree with me, is that there hasn't been a situation like this where arises so many errors and difficulties.
Yeah, and to answer that, yes, I have never seen a case handled so poorly, and especially one that was so important with this many eyes on it. Everything is magnified. But this is the worst crime scene department I've ever seen. How they took care of evidence, or the lack thereof. It was a comedy of errors, to be honest with you, which kind of made it easy for the defense. And I mean, there's no way a jury could overlook this stuff, and they clearly didn't. But no, I've never seen a case with more errors than this.
Well, let me ask you something. You said you attended Alan Dershowitz's class, right?
Yes.
Were these really errors, or you trying to put a square peg into a round hole?
It's a mix of both. It's a mix of both. Yeah, they were trying to make evidence fit that did not fit, but then also the evidence that they had, you couldn't really bank on the accuracy of it. You couldn't really verify it because it was collected improperly, and their standards just weren't high. And so that's why then they tried to make a square peg fit into a round hole, but then Dershowitz and the Dream Team had to say,
I understand. What was his name? Dennis Fong. I understand him making mistakes, being a young guy, gathering evidence and things like that. But were you really gathering, even though he made mistakes, did he have anything there to pin on somebody? How you really make a mistake on something if it was really nothing there?
Right. Well, there potentially was something there, but
let me finish that. OJ would have to leave blood like they said he did. But if you look at the evidence, he never left any blood. There was no cuts on his hand when he left. They were saying they got blood from him from a cut on his hand. Everybody testified he didn't have any cuts on his hand when he left LA.
Yeah.
So how could he have left blood somewhere if everybody testified he doesn't have any cuts on his hand?
Right.
So what is Fong looking for? I never cut myself.
Yeah.
The only blood that they had was the blood that they found in the aftermath. Right. Even though, what's his name? Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld showed how inaccurate this guy was. I think, in my opinion, they were just trying to show you're not going to railroad us like you can do anybody else.
Yeah.
To help your case. You're not going to railroad us because you do this on a daily basis. So you ain't going to try to make it seem like, well, I just fucked up and I missed something. No, it was never there. And you were walking fuck up at the same time. So that's what I'm saying. When Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld got all over these guys, and I'm talking about everybody in the department that had never had any training on this kind of stuff. And if they didn't have a Barry Scheck and a Peter Neufeld from the Innocence organization, what could they have just made up? They do that on people every day because nobody got any defense to help them. So the jury just got to go with what the prosecutors say.
Yeah.
So you got double trouble. Not only are you a walking fuck up, we're not going to let you put some stuff on our guy that you never really had and make the jury believe something else. And I think that's what the defense did.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I heard Barry Scheck say we proved it. I heard Barry Scheck say that. He said we proved it, that they were lying. How does the glove, and let me tell you this. Remember the glove at OJ's?
Yeah.
Do you know the glove had soft hair on it when they did the research on the glove? The soft hair was a dog's hair.
I did not know that.
Do you know that hair came from that Nikita that they heard barking? So how does a glove have dog hair on it and goes all the way to O.J. Simpson's house and get left on the ground?
Somebody
dog hair, not human, dog. A Nikita, which means either the dog kind of like stumbled on the glove when the glove was off. And when Furman testified under oath, and he said, that's when I saw them.
Right.
He didn't say it. He saw them, which means he saw two gloves. And one glove mysteriously goes from Bundy to Rockingham or Rockingham to Bundy, whichever the addresses are. How does that happen? With dog hair. So if O.J. Simpson is killing two people, but he let the dog live when the dog come out there. And I guess he petted the dog at the same, hey boy, how you doing? It's O.J. I'm just killing everybody. Really? This shit get more messed up by the minute because nobody's heard of these things. You're not going to hear about them on television. You're not going to hear about them on those after shows. I think, David, with all due respect, I don't know how you feel. This was a reality show that everybody was making money for, and you had to make OJ the heel. Even if he wasn't the heel, you had to make him the heel. Because you got to realize the jurors are not looking at these shows at nighttime and daytime and all this stuff is on. They're sequestered. So in essence, you're keeping people glued in to this walking reality show about O.J. Simpson killing these people, not hearing the real evidence like the jurors are. The jurors are hearing something totally different. So we got to keep this going and extract as much money as we possibly can. And I think the media was in on it. I know the LA Police Department was in on it. Everybody was in on this because everybody made money from this except for O.J. Simpson. Even old man Goldman, they gave him his own TV show. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mark Furman, they gave him his own TV show.
Yeah.
Even the guys that were sitting in the audience every day wrote books, made millions. Marcia Clark wrote a book, made millions. Christopher Darden wrote book, made millions. Denise Brown opened up what was that again, Mr. Producer?
Oh, that charity, not for profit.
Yeah. You're talking about this Denise Brown, right?
Yeah.
She released a women's battery foundation for domestic violence. And not only did that happen, but we have reports that the CEO has a history of domestic violence himself. Right. And she was taught laundering money from the organization itself. It went under about 4 years in progress, but
listen to this, David. Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
This was the Brinks job, man. How do you prolong a 9 months? A guy that's a novice murderer, a novice with a knife. Denise Brown, Andy, oh man, we got it, Mr. Producer. I appreciate it. I just want to refresh people that didn't see this. But she's the one that said, oh, his eyes, his spooky eyes. Oh, I seen him throw out the car. I mean, come on. Duh. I'm from the pro wrestling world, brother, and I'm telling you right now, all of these jokers should be on Monday Nitro or something. All of them. You know, all of them. Tag me in, baby. You know, I think twice why I call it a psyop. Everybody made money. Everybody.
You know what's
the TV shows, when you're walking out the grocery store, the National Enquirer, all this stuff, everybody made money. Except for OJ.
This. How much money would they have made? How big of a spectacle would this have been if it was the other way around, where Goldman was the target and not the wife of a famous football player, and it was somebody else on trial, not OJ? There was two hitters from wherever, drug related, and it was Goldman, and yes, OJ Simpson's ex-wife, but OJ wasn't the centerpiece.
Right.
This would be a very different trial. Would it have even had television coverage?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. You know, you live in Hollywood. You know how these people's minds work, bro. You know how these people's minds work. When they see money, let's go get it at any cost. And the man is still guilty. See, OJ could not leave this court innocent, whether he got off or not. He could not leave, because then none of this stuff works, because now you don't get the aftermath money.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? The aftermath money. All the books, all the other TV shows, you know, old man Goldman getting a TV show. And I'm like, this guy was Al Bundy selling shoes. Now he hosting a TV show? Come on, man. This guy was selling hush puppies, man. Penny loafers. Now you hosting a TV show. You famous. Mark Furman perjured himself more than once. And what does he move to? Somewhere up in Iowa, where all the white supremacists go and move to. That's where he moved to. Did you know that?
And I do have news here.
What's that?
The verdict alone, the OJ verdict alone, drew about 95 million U.S. viewers and roughly 150 million viewers worldwide, and that is only on CBS and NBC together.
So who made the money? Who made the money? Brother, I'm telling you, this whole thing was a psyop. This whole thing. Because if your emotions are being messed with every evening and you don't know anything about the evidence. The evidence does not add up. Nobody kills like that and just walks away from it. And you can't prove that they did that. The only other trial that me and Mr. Producer could find, and this is way before both of you guys' time, was Charles Manson. That went this long, which was the first one that went this long, Charles Manson. And this was back when I was a kid. Yeah, when he killed Sharon, when they supposedly killed Sharon Tate and Locke Bianca and all, his family killed all those people. Yeah. But that was 5 people being prosecuted. 5. That was easy. That was easy. What prosecutor couldn't brought that to trial? Charles Manson? I mean, really? And his crazy family? I mean, how good, like they tried to hide or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they caught them all.
Right. I'm pretty sure they admitted to it too.
Yeah.
I heard them talking.
They were that crazy.
And they confirm that the Manson case was only 7 months. I mean, we've never seen whether it's Casey Anthony or any extreme murder cases. We haven't seen a case go as long as the O.J. Simpson trial went.
That's what I'm saying. Fan Sports said OJ's appearance in Capricorn 1 was the most rented VHS that year. Posted by Oh my goodness. Great movie. Another movie that kind of ties into one of my conspiracy theories, like people going to the moon. But anyway, that's a whole nother show. But yeah, David, that's where we are right now. And look at all these different variables that's attached to this. The battered woman thing made everybody feel bad for, and Denise Brown getting up there. What is that? My sister was beat up, blah, blah, blah. And you remember that video? I remember that tape that they showed with when Denise was not Denise. What's OJ's wife's name?
Nicole.
Nicole. You remember she got all these bruises on her. You remember that? You seen those?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know those were photos from a movie she was getting ready to shoot?
I did not know that.
And they put the shit out there like that's what OJ did to her.
Wow.
And I also told you about the time when OJ, and that's when Mark Fuhrman showed up the first time back in the mid to late 80s when they had a fight. But it wasn't really a fight. OJ had pushed her because she was trying to get into the bedroom, and he was like, get out of here. And he pushed her and he hurt her. And she called 911. Like somebody said something about that last week. What about the 911 call? That might have been who I was talking about earlier. What about the 911 call? That happened years earlier. They divorced now, by the time the murders and stuff happened. And I think that's when Fuhrman came out. He was just a regular cop then. But OJ, I think he pleaded no contest and he got community service. Okay. OJ went to his lawyers and had his lawyers change his prenup. Wow. That if he had ever touched her again, which he admitted to, that the prenup was null and void. How many people are going to do that?
Yeah, I haven't heard of anybody doing that.
How many people are going to do that? Do you know OJ also had letters that wasn't permitted in court of Nicole writing letters to him trying to get back with him, saying that I was the one being controlling. I apologize. I just want us to be together and go somewhere together. Yes, letters to OJ. But OJ had got with Paula. OJ was like, I was thinking about it for a minute, but ooh, when that Paula walked in, now I mean, I can see why OJ like, oh, no, I ain't going back there.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of her. I've seen what she looks like. Yeah, OJ had options. He had options.
Like I always tell people, when people got that kind of money, they don't trade down. They trade up.
No.
You don't believe me? Go ask Bill Belichick.
Don't bring Bill into this, Steve.
I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying. I ain't mad at Bill, dog. I just know how it works, bro. When people got that kind of status. David, have you ever heard him trading down?
Nah, that doesn't happen. Only
I want you to give me one. I want you to give me one example.
I'd have to think about that. That's tough. That doesn't usually happen.
Not in all my years of watching, the you know what I'm saying. Mr. Producer, what's that?
That my friends, is OJ's trade up.
I know who it was. I was just kidding, man. But I'm just saying, back then, ooh, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ. And she was like 20-something years old.
Oh yes.
Ooh, man. And I got time to be killing people. That right there. If I'm on the jury, you dig what I'm saying, David? If I'm on the jury, that's cements it for me.
Right. He doesn't care
I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail for that and I'm missing out.
Right. Yeah.
And people that were at a party with OJ came into court and testified. One lady, I forgot exactly what she did, but I forgot exactly what she did. Two women. They was at something a few days before all this happened, and Paula and OJ were together, like some kind of party or get together or something like that. And both of those women was like, I wish both of them said, boy, I wish I had something, a relationship like that from what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Because you could tell they was really into each other. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, David, when it's fresh and new and, you going through all this stuff up here, being a celebrity, you know how that goes. Yeah, look at that. Look at the juice. Look at the juice. David, look at the juice face. Do that look like somebody getting ready to go? Look at the juice face, dog. Come on, David. That look like somebody just got time to go killing people. Man, I'm trying to get back from Chicago to get home, baby. I'm trying to get home as fast as I can. Are you kidding me? Now Paula, after this, she ain't gonna mess with him no more.
Nah, ain't in that game. Yeah, through Salsa's game right there.
Her career's over. I don't know what she did, but because you notice she never talked to the media after that. She kind of disappeared, man. Kind of killed her career because I think she was aspiring actress.
Yeah, that's a shame, and that shows how powerful this was. Just her name being associated with this, people didn't want to book her for anything. Allegedly.
Who was that? Pretty classy lady. It became a OJ did it industry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It had to be, because if it wasn't, it's all the money stops. It wasn't even about the evidence, because once you get your emotions into something, people overlook the evidence.
Right.
They're not hearing what you and I are talking about today. They're not hearing that. But these is what the jurors had to sit through every day. Then I'm sequestered down here in this Motel 6 or wherever they had them. You know what I'm saying? And then they made this whole thing about the jurors having such an infinity. Wait a minute. Monique says she looked like Nicole. What? Monique, you better go get some glasses. She don't look nothing like Nicole. Barbieri is Italian. The Brown family is German. Even though they both believe in fascism, that's not what we're talking about. It ain't like it's Mussolini, the father of fascism. But hey, go ask them black soldiers back in World War II, okay, when they came across and were trying to liberate the people in Italy. Why do you think Franco Harris is here? Franco's daddy is Italian. Oh, wait a minute. His mother's Italian. His daddy is black. Yeah, that was World War II, man. When the brothers touched down in Normandy.
It was a touchdown, all right.
I'm just saying, Italian women and German women, believe me, I've been to both countries. Italian women and German women don't look nothing alike. Nothing. But, that's just me.
Don't forget the Cuban women, Steve. I'm here.
I know, man. We already talked about the Cuban women. But you got to realize a lot of Cubans are Italian related. Did you know that Castro is Italian by birth?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Man, David, you don't know. Oh, Ray Dog been out here. I've been out here in these streets for a long time, David. You're not giving me credit. You're not giving me credit, man. I'm a real OG, but I tell you, pay attention. Yeah, I pay attention. Yeah, Fidel Castro is Italian by birth. Yeah, so Cubans or Italians got. Why do you think all those? Casinos and stuff like that from the mob was in Cuba?
Starting to see the connection there.
Under Batista. Yeah. Yeah. So Fidel came in, a whole bunch of them. Fidel came, matter of fact, what's his name? He was a part of the JFK. He was part of the JFK murder, and he was part of Watergate. Shit, I can't think of his name right now. He was Italian, and he was working with the freedom fighters over in Cuba. He was Italian because the languages are similar.
Okay.
Yeah, the languages are similar. Some of the same words. But we ain't trying to get off into that. I'm just saying when Monique said she looked like Nicole. Mr. Producer, pull up a picture of Nicole again. I want Monique to see this. Italy invaded Ethiopia. Yeah, they did, because they were the one country. That's the only country they could beat. Me think 995 Latin. Yeah.
So here we have.
That's Nicole, dude. Okay, yes. That's Nicole. Let's see Paula.
And then for comparison,
okay,
just for future references.
Yeah, let's for future references, man. Monique, we gotta let her see this, man.
That's what we got.
You show the one with her and OJ. It's a better picture.
Let's see. Here we go.
Now that look like Nicole to you? Barbieri?
Mm-mm. Now, am I mistaken, or wasn't she a Playboy playmate too?
I think, was it Playboy or one of the other ones?
Something like that.
Like Hustler or something like that.
David, from my experience, I don't want to get into the ins and outs of it, but yes, I can confirm she was in Playboy.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Well, what else do we need to say? Hey, Nicole, find her well, you know.
She looks like low key.
Playmate carries a little bit different cachet there.
No, both of them. Who is that? Methinks. Both of those women are beautiful. I'm not taking nothing away from Nicole in that fashion, but I'm just saying, OJ had moved on. And for them to bring these things up, he was stalking her and things of that nature. Then they come up with a letter of her, and OJ had testified she was trying to get back with me. She was trying to be. OJ was the best thing that ever happened to her. She had been with OJ since she was 18 years old, a kid. And these women people testified that, to hurt OJ because he loved her so much. She would say, I'm going out with so-and-so and I'm going to do this to him and I'm going to do that to him. Yes, there's people on the record testifying to this, David, just to try to hurt the man's heart. And like he said, when they kept showing that video of him screaming in the background and she's calling 911, OJ was upset because he's seen his Nicole, and I forgot the guy's name, through the window having sex. She was giving him fellatio. And OJ's like, you got the window open, the kids could come down and see you. What man wouldn't be pissed off of that?
Right.
Keith, that was his name. And he told her, what kind of guy you dating ain't even got money for a motel or a hotel? He said, damn, if the dude ain't got the money, I will give y'all the money as long as you don't go spend it on drugs. That's what he said, verbatim. Well, I could be paraphrasing. I do forget things a little bit, but be that as it may, it was saying the same thing. Yeah.
Wow.
And do you know, as the trial was going on, David, as the trial was going on, do you remember they kept showing this chick, Faye Resnick?
Yes. Yeah.
Who said she was Nicole's best friend and was saying all these derogatory things toward OJ, and she didn't know the woman no more than 6 months, and she had just gotten out of rehab.
Wow.
And she writes a book. That's why she wasn't brought to the stand. She wrote a book before all this stuff even went to court. And it's on all the TV shows. Faye Resnick. Pull her up, Mr. Producer.
You're talking about this Faye, right?
Yeah, let's see. That's her. Yeah. I think Geraldo was trying to hit it.
We have a comment here.
David laughing, but
you're serious?
Yeah.
Geraldo was trying to hit everything back there. Why you think he got demoted from his own TV show to doing Fox News on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock?
Oh, boy.
And Steve, we have a comment here. It says, she looked like Tony Blanchard and Dan Spivey had a baby.
Oh, come on. Faye Resnick is a nice looking lady to me. I mean, I ain't got nothing against her.
Hey, I'm just reporting it, man.
But if she wasn't a beautiful white lady, she wouldn't have been on nothing. Anybody would have. Cora Fishman, who OJ knew her and her husband, they was at the recital on that Sunday with his daughter. Faye Resnick wasn't there. Cora Fishman was there. That's who Nicole's best friend was. And do you know Cora Fishman had pulled OJ aside some, I don't know, weeks before that and asked him, please get her out of here.
Wow.
That she's hanging with too many of the wrong people. Yes. That's what Cora Fishman told OJ. Her best friend. Faye Resnick wrote a book. How you gonna write a book and not testify about all this stuff you saying about OJ? Like you've been knowing OJ for years. And do you know Faye Resnick had just got out of rehab? And do you know Denise Brown had just got out of rehab? What that tell you? Where the drugs coming from, David?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this really about? What this really about? Love? Or what's this about? Drugs?
The evidence, I mean, that they're not talking about, seems like there's plenty of evidence that at least point to drugs, or at least that needs to be investigated or should have. But it seems like there's more evidence pointing towards that makes more sense than there is to OJ doing it from being hung up on Nicole, or they could never give me a solid motive that made any sense to me. That's why OJ would do this.
But you got all of these different things pointing toward, because if Ron Goldman wasn't in the mix, that's one thing. And do you know, what's his name? His last name was Lang. He stayed down the street from Nicole. He was walking his dog. I don't know if you heard this. And he talked to the defense, but they didn't bring him up. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. He talked to Pat McKenna, who was the lead detective for the defense. Pat McKenna, he's from Florida. And F. Lee Bailey brought him in because he said, man, something's not right. These guys are not getting the right, if something not right with the detectives. This is what F. Lee Bailey said. Something ain't right. They not doing their due diligence. They're not digging. So he called this dude all the way from Florida. And this dude said he watching TV just like everybody else. And guess what he said, David? I thought O.J. Simpson was guilty just like everybody else.
Wow.
So he came in for F. Lee Bailey because they knew each other from I guess some past dealings or whatever. And once he started doing his, going out digging and finding this, that, and the other, and he was like, there's no way this guy did this. There's no way. Going back to one of the things, he went and interviewed the lady the housekeeper that stayed across the street from OJ. Like I said, that takes her dog out. I was talking about this earlier, but we got sidetracked. Takes her dog out every night. So she puts her cup of water in the microwave, heats it up, then she puts some tea in it. And while the tea is, brewing and stuff, she takes the dog out and walks him every night at the same time. So Pat McKenna had her to redo the whole thing, and he put his clock on it. See how long it took. This, that, and the other. Go out there, dog do his business, blah, blah, blah. Pooper scooper comes back in. By the time she do that, the tea is nice and ready to go. She does this every night before she go to bed. And guess what she testified to, David?
What's that? When
she went outside, Mr. Simpson's Bronco was parked where it was when she seen it earlier that day. And this was between 10:05, 10:12. And the murder's supposed to happen at 10:15. So apparently he was very nonchalant about going to do the murders.
Yeah.
She said the Bronco was parked right where she saw it earlier that afternoon. She stayed right across the street.
Doesn't add up. Doesn't add up. Can't be in two places at once.
Can't. And
Steve,
then
I'm afraid we have breaking news.
Uh-oh, what we got?
This just in, Steve.
Okay.
I can confirm. With all the information that you and David have shared, we have a suspect that is in the case that is arising with the shoes, with the drugs, and connection to mafia. We have Tony Soprano. You might have been a connection to the case after all.
It would have to be.
Yes, just
only he could have gotten away with something like that with some Bruno Mali shoes.
Yes, we wanted to confirm that to you guys. So thank you guys.
We appreciate that. We'll put him on the list. But like I said, that was, and so many people in the media, independent people in the media, before the case even went down, said there were other suspects, and all of a sudden they all went away. And do you know, after the grand jury had listened to everything, the grand jury did not want to bring charges against O.J. Simpson.
Wow.
Because they told the prosecutors, y'all don't have enough evidence. None of this stuff adds up. Yeah. See how all that's been left out of the narrative.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, old Ray Dog done went and found it, brother. I done went and found it. Nobody knows about Ron Goldman and his connections. His connections. Nobody knows about that. Why his file, nobody can see it. And that Mezzaluna restaurant was one of the restaurants being investigated by the Drug Task Force of people selling drugs out of there. That is where these high-end people were going to get their drugs. Could he have been one of those people? Why, if you've done nothing wrong, why would your file be suppressed? Why?
Yeah, that is suspicious. I give you that. That's very suspicious.
And my boy Me Thing just said Kato Kaelin. Kato Kaelin, if you remember his testimony, was nothing. I left him out. Once he said, I think OJ did it after everything was over with, because he didn't say that when he was up on the trial, he started getting paid for appearances and wrote a book and all that stuff too. What about that, David?
Yeah. In fact, he's got like a podcast or something. I've seen a number of episodes, but all it is discussing this case. And you're right. Like, I heard him since then. He said that now he feels like OJ did it after the fact, years after the fact. That he
no, because if you don't, you know what's going to happen to you. Right. You're going to get banished. I will ask you this, David, and I will ask anybody out there that's watching this show right now. We've chronicled many things that a lot of people are not privy to. How many people have you ever seen go on national television and say that they thought O.J. Simpson was innocent? How many people?
Right. I haven't. I've never seen anybody outright say that. And every once in a while, you'll get somebody who they kind of waffle or say, hey, I'm not sure. And then you don't see that again. And I can count those people probably on one hand.
I've seen
all the fingers.
Stephen A. Smith go on national television. Oh, the prosecutors, they just messed up. Oh, I think OJ was guilty, blah, blah, blah. That's a prostitute. Okay? That's a prostitute. He knows his beans from his cornbread. I ain't mad at him. He got $100 million. But I know where that's coming from. How you know more than the FBI? Yeah. A lot of this stuff was turned over to the FBI and they couldn't even find it. How you not be able to find a Bruno Mali shoe if O.J. Simpson wore it? What he gonna buy it at? Will somebody go, hey, is that O.J.? O.J., can I have an autograph? Or O.J. came in this store and everybody watching this on TV wouldn't call the prosecutors and said, hey, he came in this store and bought these shoes. Are you kidding me? Anywhere in the world? Where would you hide it? How many stores sell this shoe? Only a few.
Right.
And if somebody bought them for him, they will testify to that too. This doesn't add up. You know why? Because he ain't never bought them. So what I'm saying is this. Didn't I see Steve Harvey? Oh, man, and I know this guy. Man, OJ's went in there and just chopped up everybody, man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you know your beans from your cornbread. You're a prostitute. You took the money. You're a turncoat, what we call you in pro wrestling. You took the money. That's why you're still on whatever the game show is. The Price is Right. What is it?
Family Feud.
Yeah, Family Feud.
Family Feud, man.
Yeah, whatever. Who watches that garbage anyway? I don't. Stephen A. Smith saying, I mean, all of them, bro. Even the girl that was with Cochran's group. I'm looking at her and some people talking to her. This was just like 4 or 5 years ago. Well, we brought in an expert. And she wouldn't say whether or not she thought it was innocent or not. Well, we brought in an expert. And the expert interviewed OJ. And after everything he said, she thought he was innocent. And what the other lady said, well, yeah, but what was you guys expert though? That's what they pay experts to do. Like they're gonna pay the woman to say, "Hey, make sure you say he's innocent. We'll give you extra 100." I mean, really? Like, make sure you get a little color. I give you extra 100. That's how it used to be back in my day. You know what I'm saying? I can give you another 200, David. You got some color for me tonight or whatever.
I'll do what I got to do.
And dog, you didn't come up the way I came up, okay? You didn't come up that way. But dog, you needed that. If it's an extra bill in there, David, you needed that extra bill. You did. You know, and no attorneys are walking off the street, baby, to be no professional wrestler back in my day. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You're gonna stay over there making sure people don't go to jail or whatever, you know what I'm saying, before you come over here, bro. I'm telling you. You would have looked at that and go, "Oh no, man, I'll be doing this paperwork all night." Eating tuna fish out of the can and stuff like that, bro. I'm just saying. It's just the way it was. So that's what they were supposedly did with this woman, but she never said, "I think he's innocent." She never said it. You know why? Because she still want to be on television.
Yeah.
Doing those kind of interviews, because you don't go on interviews for free. You get paid for them. You know that. Just like Kato Kaelin.
Right.
You testified that, and he wouldn't say what Marcia Clark wanted him to say. I don't know if you remember that. I was watching this from my hotel room, and they called him a hostile witness. To the judge, they called him a hostile witness because he wasn't saying, they thought he's trying to cover for OJ. Well, this man, I'm not finna go to jail for OJ just because he let me stay here for free and let me bring my honeys over here and stuff like that and have a place to stay, ain't paying no rent. Why would I, who got it that good at a palatial estate? Who got it that good? Now, me thinks that Nicole was either murdered by the guys who confessed it, who also murdered the other women and went to prison. Oh, yeah, I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah, that guy was on the radar too, and they didn't bring that up. But I was going back to the guy named who lived down the street from, this is true, you can look this up. But the prosecutors, he talked to the defense, though, because the defense wanted to bring him in, but they couldn't. He had no reason to lie. He talked to Pat McKenna. Pat McKenna interviewed him. And he said he was walking his dog. He said he saw Nicole outside arguing with two guys. And they were in a white Ford F-350 because this guy knew everything about Ford trucks. He said, no, it wasn't a 250, it wasn't a 150, it wasn't a Bronco. It was an F-350 because they got the dually wheels in the back.
Wow. I never heard this. Now this is important. This is major.
Yeah, they didn't bring them on the stand. This is from Pat McKenna's stuff, who's a detective. This is from his stuff. He got a book out there. You can read it. So he got a lot of stuff in his book that never made it to television. You see what I'm saying? Because it would have made OJ look innocent.
Right. That right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said these two guys was in a white Ford F-350. And so they asked him, why didn't the defense bring him? And he thought OJ was guilty just like everybody else. He's just telling what he saw. He said because the defense said the truck was a Ford and it was white. The prosecutors could have turned that inside out and said, well, maybe you thought it was but it really was you know what I'm saying? So that's why they didn't.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was a debate because risk reward analysis where this is an important piece of testimony, but the fact that it is a white Ford, right? Prosecution
and it's dark,
yeah,
and all these different things, they could have turned that inside out, so they didn't bring it in, but they wanted to. But by the vehicle being a Ford and white,
yeah.
But he didn't say she was arguing with one guy. She said she was arguing with two people.
Wow.
True. Pat McKenna. Look him up.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to do that.
Pat McKenna. Yeah, and the guy, his last name was Lang, just like the cop. Just like the cop.
Yeah.
One of Lang and Van Adder, his name was Lang also.
Steve, that actually makes sense because earlier you and David were talking about that there was 2 different footprints on the scene of the crime, and it fits that description because if Nicole was arguing with 2 different men, they could have been wearing suits, same pair of shoes that matched that description. They could have even been wearing 2 separate pair of gloves that they could have taken out at the same time. What are y'all's thoughts as these puzzle pieces come together that you guys are unveiling?
You know what, Mr. Producer? I'm just putting things out there to make people think, like I said, from a juror's point of view, not from somebody's television with their emotions. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to see anybody killed, whether it's Ron Goldman, just a young man trying to do his thing, or Nicole Simpson. But I'm also not going to let anybody on this earth make me think in a way with my emotions where I'm just going to look at somebody and take you for your word. And I really know how the media works. And I know how the California justice system works. I know how it works. So when you got a celebrity involved, and when you got emotions involved, when you got race involved, when you got jealousy so-called involved, and when you got love involved, and all these different things that makes for one of those great books that they, those little novel books that they used to write, as to a movie. And I think they turned this into a walking television show that was happening in real time, and everybody made money off it because those people in Hollywood, when they see money, brother, they can smell it, and we going for it. And like I said, the only other trial that I know that went that long was when I was a kid, and that was the Manson murders. That was on television every day. And this is the second thing to that, but it lasted even longer. You guys are a little bit too young to remember this, but yes, the Charles Manson thing was a big thing way back then. I even still remember the guy that was the prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi or something like that. That was his name. I still remember this. Like I said, guys, I don't know how certain things stick in my mind, even though I ain't thought about it in a zillion years. But Vincent, he's got a very long last name, Bugliosi. Look it up, Mr. Producer. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, and that was on television, not like the OJ thing was, but it was on the news. It kind of like dominated the news because nobody ever seen a murder that gruesome before, and it dealt with celebrities and rich people.
Yeah.
And this was similar.
Yeah.
Martin Sheen felt OJ was framed. If you look at the evidence, who was that? Monique say Manson was in McKinney, Texas. He could have been. Dude was a musician. Do you know he had tried to do some stuff with Brian Wilson? Do you know Brian Wilson?
I don't.
That was the guy, that was the brother that did everything for the Beach Boys.
Ah.
Because it was brothers and 3 brothers in the Beach Boys. Yeah. He was the one. He just died here recently. He was the one that wrote all that stuff back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, when you put all this stuff together, the Brett Cantors, the Michael Niggs, the Faye Resnicks, who writes a book about somebody she don't even know, makes millions. Jill Shively, who said O.J. Simpson almost ran into her at 10:55. Yet he was supposed to be running into the air condition at 10:40. and she was on all kind of different shows making money telling this lie, even though everybody knew she was lying. And to this day, she's still on different stuff. What I'm saying is you got to keep the narrative going. You got to keep it going.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah, look at this homely, disturbing to look at. Get that picture off the stream, man. I'm about to throw up looking at that.
I'm just doing my job, Steve.
Now, I know. I just want it on for. Actually, I didn't even want it on. If you're talking about faces like that, man, give me a chance to get ready for them. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I think the through line here is media and the power of it, and clout.
Yes,
really, like it shows everybody connected with this had an ulterior motive, and they wanted to what they would call today now clout chasing. I mean, you even go down to Furman, who wanted to insert himself and be a part of this, which is still interesting to me. How he wasn't even on duty, and they called him on duty. Home. Yeah, to come and be part of this. And then he's at the crime scene on Bundy, where allegedly there's 2 gloves and a hat. So allegedly, and this sounds like a professional killer, where they leave the stuff behind right there. So it always seemed implausible to me that they would go through the trouble of laying the hat down and 1 glove. But we heard Furman slip up, and I would think that both gloves were there. Right. And then somehow the other glove magically appeared at Rockingham when Furman went there to show up. So, but I don't think that OJ would go through the trouble of, if this were him, leaving the hat and the glove, and he would forget and just bring 1 glove with him
over the fence. Well, this is the thing. Let's take it back a second. Let's think about it in terms where we was on the jury, you and I, and with 10 other people, and we're talking about this, David. The glove got dark hair on it, and you've gotten rid of all the other stuff, but you don't get rid of the glove.
And you leave it at your house.
And that's why I say you can't be Jerome Horowitz and Jack the Ripper at the same time.
Yeah.
Nobody convinced me of that, bro.
Yeah.
1 glove all the way home. All the way home. You could have threw that glove out anywhere. You got rid of everything else except the bloody socks. Did we talk about the bloody socks?
We didn't even get to those yet.
The bloody socks in the bedroom? Well, the photographer, the videographer, a Mr. I know his last name was Brown. He was a brother who testified, no, those socks wasn't there when I came in the first time.
Yeah. And then if you've seen the video too, there's nothing out of place in that room at all, except for these 2 random socks after the fact.
OJ was a neat freak.
Right. And why would he happen to leave 2 socks there that have blood on? They have blood with high concentration of EDTA, much higher than is found in the human body.
And the blood stain goes all the way through 4 walls of the socks.
Yep. Which could not happen if the blood had splashed onto him and he was wearing them. Could not happen.
Exactly.
It would only be on one.
So that's what I'm saying. If we're in the thing deliberating, you're gonna look at me like I'm fucking crazy, and I'm gonna look at you and go, brother, somebody is testing our intelligence. Somebody's you would have to be the dumbest of the dumb or the stupidest of the stupid for me to believe something like this, that only these kind of miracles happen in this case.
Right.
Only these kind of miracles happen.
And David, I have a legal question. When it comes to murder cases like this, when there is a violent murder that occurs, aren't there blood splatter reports of the victim to ensue where the trail comes from? And can attorneys access these reports to justify to the jury of why the event occurred and how it occurred, so it's easy to put these pieces together and such.
Well, yes, assuming that the police department has a blood spatter analyst in their crime scene team. Down in Miami, they had Dexter Morgan. He was a crime scene analyst. He
Right.
he went downhill after getting involved with the Cubans. It was too much. It was
Too much.
too tempting for him. I don't blame him. I don't blame
Man,
him.
we're in trouble because you're in LA. I'm in Miami. There's something going on here, man. I'm terrified.
Fan Sport just said Roman Polanski's wife. Her name was Sharon Tate.
Yeah. Very sad. And
same
and
situation.
also,
I'm just saying,
like you said,
Go ahead.
Like you said, these are actors, and director. This is a Hollywood, very
Right.
famous people, and that's why this is another situation. You said the only other case that was similar, that would be why.
And I can remember that kind of dominated the headlines, because you remember back in those days you only had 3 channels.
Yeah.
And it dominated the headlines, not like the OJ did, because you got news channels, then you had the little makeup, so you had Court TV just coming out, you had all these different current affairs and all these kind of shows coming on in the daytime, and then you had late at night these shows coming on every night on 2 or 3 different stations, you know what I'm saying, and having these round tables of people saying this happened, that happened, so on and so forth, not talking about what you and I are talking about, but talking about things in a way that the narrative points at O.J. Simpson's guilty. None of the stuff that we talked about came out. None of it. And then when it did, it was like in the way of which we discussed today. You know what I'm saying? That somebody see no blood was there. Well, they come up and make the man seem like he don't know what he's talking about. Everybody don't know what they're talking about unless, or Denise Brown, the eyes, ooh, you just got out of rehab and now they got a tape of you kissing OJ as he leaving the deal, but all of a sudden he looked like a devil. Then you got other people testifying, no, he was just so cool, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? All of this different stuff. And people seeing this stuff and coming up with a conclusion. Then on top of that, the coup d'etat of the whole thing was that how the media made it seem like that the black people on the jury, this is the part that really pissed me off, man. This is the part that really pissed me off, because I know me. And I know my people. We have never got up and not did our jurisprudence in the name of justice, and we didn't care what color the person was. We've never done that. But I can give you 100 situations where other people did. I can give you 100 situations. I can give you one that just happened right before that with Rodney King, that was beaten like a dog.
Yeah.
And the jurors let him off. Let him off. We've never done that. We do not have such an infinity for us. That was another narrative created by the media. But since everything that's happened to them, they wanted to let them go. We don't think like that. And I'm not going to let the media tell the many that we do. We've never done that. Because we ain't built like other people. We got one thing that a lot of other people don't have, and that's fucking integrity. If you're guilty, and we think you're guilty, yeah. Black, white, or other, you're going to jail if we on the jury. You know how I know? I was one of them. Yeah, I was one of them. And I'm speaking from experience. Yeah, it wasn't no 9 months. Wasn't but a few days. But still, I did my duty as a citizen. And I'm losing money sitting up here with these people. I was losing money. I didn't care. Because when I was a kid, I watched a movie called 12 Angry Men. Henry Fonda was the lead actor in that movie. And that brought something to my head that I'll never forget. I don't think I could live with something if I did the wrong thing, like the people in that movie was trying to do. Henry Fonda cared. And then when I was in that position, I cared. and the people that was on the O.J. Simpson trial, they cared. But no, they get blackballed and say they let him off because they got an infringement. Fuck the evidence. That's what we do. No, that ain't what we do. No, we don't do stuff like that. You know, you don't believe me? Go ask Emmett Till's mother. Go ask his mother. They get let off. Even the lady that lied. You see how this works? We ain't built like that. And we never will be. Because we got something a lot of other people ain't got. And I mean that. I mean that to the core of my existence. I mean that. Anybody that had been on that jury and that you brought them this kind of evidence, there's no way they can convict somebody on evidence that don't make sense. And it don't take a genius to see you was trying to make up shit. And it don't take a genius to see a man perjures himself and not go to jail. You let him go. He gets a television show. These people ain't dumb. And we ain't never going to be dumb for somebody else. No. Let him off because different things that didn't happen to them. They felt as though they should do this. You talking for us now. We can't talk for ourselves. You just going to make up a narrative. Man, shut the hell up. And I think, David, that's what we saw. I think this was a money grab, man. And O.J. Simpson was the target. Because if it take you, if I'm a logical thinking person, if it takes you 10 months, 9 months rather, or the 10, 9 months, whatever it was, to convict a novice murderer that used a knife in Bruno Mali's shoes, and you brought that to me and said, this is what happened. No way. I'm gonna say, man, get the hell out of here. Just like the grand jury said, man, get out of here. You got to be joking. But they went and manufactured a lot of stuff. Like I said, by Mr. Golden not showing up. See what I'm saying? And then try to make Mark Fuhrman, when all the tapes came out about this man being a genocidal racist. This man tried to get off and get his pension. He was such a racist. He tried to get off and go to court and get his pension, and they wouldn't let him. Did you know about this, David?
I did. I heard this. This was bad.
Yeah.
But tell everybody out there, I don't know if they have.
Yeah, this man was such a racist, it was killing him to be out there working with black folks or trying to arrest black people. This man was on tape talking about how many different things they've done to people. Anybody can go to Brian Hess, look up Brian Hess. He's got it on his website, and everybody can listen to all the tapes. I listened to them. And then what did the prosecutor say on television? I mean, all those different shows. You know what they said, David?
What's that?
Oh, he was auditioning for a movie role.
Yeah.
He telling the woman how people do as police officers and how they can get away with so much stuff. Another lady also testified that she was on a date with this dude. That's how he knew Nicole. You know, he told his buddies down at the police station that Nicole had a nice new boob job. Now, how would he know that? Unless you know her personally. And y'all still communicating in some way, shape, or form. Maybe that was the initial thing when the OJ thing came up. Because if you think about it, David, I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about. David, we not together no more. Somebody kills you. Why would I be the lead suspect?
Right. It would be whoever she's with now.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, they would look at him, but they would first try to ascertain who she's presently in a relationship.
You go up and jump his fence? You go up and jump his fence that night? And then make up a lie and say, well, since the Bronco was parked kind of crooked by the curb, we thought somebody was inside getting killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what is this? 1 Adam 12? I mean, what cop thinks like that? Right. Who is she dating now?
Right.
And alluding to the jumping of the fence, David and Steve, OJ at this time, he was in his 40s, and, not really as durable. So if he jumped the fence, essentially, isn't he going to hurt himself? He did have arthritis.
Exactly. He jumped his own fence.
Yeah.
Yet the limo driver said he didn't see a car drive up. He just seen OJ going across the thing. And what the defense and Pat McKenna talked about is they did exercises to see if a car came down that road, there's no way the limo driver would have missed it. I'm thinking that limo driver was on the phone talking to one of his honeys and didn't see, what I'm saying? And the thing is, the car never drove up.
Right.
He said when he passed by, the car wasn't there. But the lady across the street, Rosa Lopez, said, yeah, the car was there. I saw it when I walked the dog.
And just so you guys know, we have 10 more minutes.
So I kind of got sidetracked on some stuff I was talking about. But what I'm saying is this man talked about how they could get away with, how they didn't like when he saw a black man driving in a convertible with a white woman, what they would do and this, that, and the other. Brother, you got to listen to these tapes. If the juror had heard, you remember they just heard a little smidget of the tapes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If the jurors had heard that whole thing, if the world had heard the whole thing, there's no way. This guy should be in federal prison, bro. He proved that how they used to set up people and stuff like that. So everything he was saying on those tapes falls right into the glove situation.
Yep.
Remember, they go over, knock on the door. OJ's daughter is there. He tells her, you need to talk to these guys. He went back to where the glove was, and that's when he found the glove. He found the gloves when nobody else was around. Then he comes back and tells the police, hey, come check this out. And do you know before O.J. Simpson left to get in the limo and leave, Cato told him about the thumps. Cato told him that. O.J. went and got a flashlight, and him and Cato went back there to check, and they didn't see anything. But yet, when Mark Fuhrman went back there, he did. Yeah, they checked before OJ left. Because he told OJ about the thumps. Yeah.
And not to mention, Fuhrman found the glove, and he was the one to find the socks.
Exactly.
As soon as he got there to the house. And
they told him
not to come upstairs.
Exactly. The detectives had told him to leave twice. Mm-hmm. The detectives had told him to leave twice. What are you doing up here? You know what I'm saying? They even got pictures of that. Him in the background. Then all of a sudden, like you said, a super clean house. And the Jew's gonna leave his socks in the middle of the floor with white carpet. Man, what kind of dude you got to be to have white carpet, David?
Yeah, super clean freak. Hey, you know what? Here's another thing. If we walking through this, if Fuhrman found those socks, they're brown socks. They're dark socks. There's little specks of blood, apparently. I wouldn't think they would just automatically be visible to the naked eye. Why would it even matter? Hey, there's socks right here. We should probably go test these in the lab. Maybe. But I don't know, aside from that, like if you just saw them and had, look at them. I can't make out that there's any blood on them or whatnot. Like, why would they, here, let's test these for blood. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think that would be the first thing that jumped off. Why, for him to run and grab everybody. Hey, I found some more evidence. You don't know that that's evidence yet.
But if you're trying to convince a juror, David, I'm going to get rid of my shoes and not get rid of my socks?
Yeah.
How many times you done came home from the gym or from out if you got shoes on whatever socks I got on, I stuff them in the shoes. Right. So I can find them when I get ready to look for them, or I throw them in the pantry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get rid of my shoes and not my socks. And then I'm a neat freak. I'm going to take my socks off and leave them in the middle of the floor.
With nothing else out of place.
With nothing else out of place.
Just those socks that happen to have blood and a high concentration of EDTA in it.
Right.
Higher than the human body.
And that's what I'm saying, brother. At the end of the day, there's no way I can convict a OJ. I'm not. If I couldn't, if somebody that elementary that's never murdered before, then you murder in a timeline of which you got to go do something, and you trying to convince me of that.
Yeah.
I think you actually insulting my intelligence, David.
I agree with it.
I would have to be the dumbest guy in the world to believe this when I think you're insulting my intelligence, and I'm not going to be afraid to say it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This doesn't make sense. And I know there's a lot of emotional people out there that have been listening to a psyop lie for so many years. First of all, I'm going to tell y'all something, brother. Black men don't kill with knives. I'm from Southeast Houston. OJ is from Potrero Hill. We grew up in similar type places. Don't nobody fight with knife. You might use a knife to defend yourself, but it's too much stuff can lead back to you with a knife. See, a bullet travels from a distance. A knife you have to do in close proximity. We all from the streets know this, bro. We all know it. And that's why I say you can't be Curly from the Three Stooges and Jack the Ripper at the same time. I know television can make you believe that. What kind of psychopath turns into a psychopath? And not one woman, they interviewed every woman that this man had ever had a relationship with. Not one of those women said OJ had a mean disposition. Even his ex-wife. No man has said, I ain't never seen this dude not having fun. Now, all of a sudden, one night, within 45 minutes, 30 minutes rather, you turn into Jack the Ripper and then turn back into, the regular OJ, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And you want me to believe this. I'm sorry, dog. With all due respect, I ain't buying it. We'll let the people out there listen to what we talked about, David and I, and we'll just go from there, man. That's all we can say. Any parting words, David?
Man, I really hope that this opens some people's eyes. This has been near and dear to me, as I know it has to you. Like I've researched this since I was 14 years old, since this happened.
Yeah.
And just all through law school. And I thank you just for having me on here to discuss this. And I learned a lot. And you definitely did your digging and did your homework.
Hey man, I'm like, they call me the Black Paul Drake.
Black Paul Drake, man. I gotta give it up. You and Mr. Producer, you guys pulled up some stuff that even I hadn't heard of, and I've researched this extensively. So and really I think it just opened up even more possibilities and even more reasonable doubt. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to the truth.
I don't think we will, man. I think I look at this the same way I look at JFK. I look at this the same way I look at Martin Luther King. I look at this the same way I look at Bobby Kennedy. I look at this the same way I look at, even Watergate, 9/11, the Oklahoma City bombing, the first World Trade Center bombing. I look at all of these things the same way, bro. And I look them in the way of these were psyops that was done for a reason. And the government made us look the other way and told us something. Waco. You remember Waco with David Koresh? Yeah, I've studied all this stuff. David. That's one of my pet peeves, man. Long time ago, I figured out I'm living in an alternative world. So I want to know as much about it as possible. My boy Avi, that was on the show earlier, he and I has gone through so much of this stuff over the years, man. That's why I wanted him on the show today, but I couldn't get in contact with him. But yeah, man, all of this stuff, all the way up till today, when it comes to certain things that I'm not going to bring up right now. But yeah, we are a pawn in someone else's game, bro. That is just what I believe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's just what I believe, man. Sorry, but no. If it happened and something don't add up, someone's behind it, bro. Someone's behind it. And like I said, I'm a big proponent of Leroy Fletcher Prouty, who has written about this stuff for years. This is a guy that goes all the way back to World War II and used to be in Black Ops, and he used to be in intelligence. And another guy by the name of Bill Cooper. I read a lot of his stuff. Bill Cooper, his family's from intelligence. These people have got the stuff out there, and a few others. And brother, I was just infatuated with some of this stuff, man. It bothers me, man. So when it comes to me being an African American in the United States of America, I understand the plight of why you have to keep people at a certain area. You know why? In my mind, it's profitable, and you always use it to detour people's mind as to what's really going on, and that way you can always use it against them to control the others. The shit is old as the crucifixion once you think about it, but it's just done in a different way. That's my 2 cents, man.
With that being said, Steve, do you want to bring us home?
Well, hey, man, we're glad David was here for another show. David, I got people telling me, I didn't tell him this, Mr. Producer. I got people telling me that me and David got to dive into some other stuff, man. We got to dive into some, but we're going to leave that up to David. He'll let us know if he want to do it with us, man. I ain't lying. I got people hitting me up saying, man, y'all got to do the Tupac. Y'all got to do the Biggie. Y'all got to do. I'm like, okay.
Oh man,
I got people telling me this.
I love.
We got to do Diddy too.
That was you.
Hey man, what did I say? Little baby oil.
Before my man David Otunga, appreciate you coming on. But my man, Mr. Producer, that's always got his stuff together. I am your host, Stevie Ray, and this is the World's Most Dangerous Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But if you don't do anything else, hey man, you be one. Peace.